Hi, this is Mary Egbert from Kamaj Fiber Arts, and today I'm going to show you how to make some silk paper. The silk does not adhere to itself like wool does, so you need to use some sort of a medium to bond the fibers. And this one was made with Soffsilk and some silk thrums, and these little things in the middle are silk carrier rods. One's a big one. Okay, so it's really easy. You don't need a lot of supplies, and I'm going to show you what you need. Okay, the first thing you're going to do is set down a towel, because you're going to need to absorb some water. And then the next thing you'll need is a piece of tulle, like used for weddings. And it's just a fabric that you'll get at the fabric store. It has holes in it. And then you'll need another piece of tulle to go on top of the fiber. You're going to need some sort of a paintbrush. You use one that's about 2 inches wide. You can use one a little wider or a little more narrow, but the more narrow, it's going to take longer to get your fiber wet. You're going to need a bowl of water with a little soap in it. And you're going to need a fabric stiffener. Any sort of fabric stiffener will do. We have Stiffy. And then you'll need another bowl to put that in. Okay. And then you'll need some silk. And what I'm using today is we're using Soffsilk, which is a high quality silk waste fiber. It is so soft, and it comes in a bunch of different colors, and you can find this on Etsy. It's Soffsilk. You can also use silk thrums, which are the mill ends when they make sari fabric or sari silk. And you would just untie the top and then untwist it. Maybe. Maybe I'll untwist it. And then you would just cut off whatever you need, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. So it's really just a bundle of threads. Alright, so you're going to take your silk and you're just going to pull out a piece, and you see how the fibers kind of align in the horizontal position. So I'm going to set that down, and then it just depends on how big you want this. If you want it round or rectangle, make sure your towel is big enough and your piece of tulle is big enough. So I'm just going to keep pulling out pieces and just laying it down, overlapping. Now some people sew on this, so you wouldn't want it super thick so your needle doesn't go through the fiber. But if you're using this for maybe a book cover or something that's going to take a lot of wear and tear, you may want to put a few extra layers. And when I do it, I make sure I don't have any holes showing through. But you may want that sort of look anyway, is holes and a little bit more lacy. It's it's your call. Okay, whoop, not too much there. You can take different colors. You can gradiate it from one color to the next. So many things you can do. And by putting it in this alignment, keeps the fabric a little bit stronger when it's done. Quilters like to use this too. You can even make the paper and cut out shapes and felt it into a wool design if you want to. You can put it in a frame and put it on the wall. It's kind of cool. Okay, so there's the base silk. And then I'm going to take the thrum, and I'm just going to cut a small piece out. And you can just take the threads and put them on your piece wherever you want, just to give a little bit of texture and interest. Okay, so I think I'm done with that. That's kind of where I want it to be. And then you're going to take that other piece of tulle and you're going to put it over the top. So now you're going to take your water with the soap, and what we're doing with this is we're just trying to break the surface tension of the fiber so the fabric stiffener can absorb into the fiber. Okay. So I'm not going to get it, I don't want to saturate the fiber, because what will happen if I super saturate it, it'll water down the fabric stiffener, and then your end product won't be as stiff as you want it. So I'm just going to go down and make sure this is wet on one side, and then we're going to turn it over. And also, one thing I've found is don't use the brushes that are foam, because for some reason it doesn't saturate as well as the brush with the actual bristles. Make sure and get all the way to the edge. Okay, so that's pretty wet. And I'm going to turn it over. And you can see that that part's still pretty dry. So we're going to wet that. Now when you use your fabric stiffener, you can water it down so your end piece becomes a little bit more pliable. It just depends on what you're going to use that end product for. Okay, so I've got my bowl with my stiffy. I'm going to squeeze it in the bowl, and I'm not going to water this down. Take that, and then we just coat all the surface of the silk with the fabric stiffener. So the water helps it penetrate the fibers better. It's kind of, the water's almost like a carrier of the fabric stiffener. Some people use the silk paper to make wedding invitations, which would be really pretty. There's a book called Stupendous Stitching that uses hand embroidery and some machine stitching to make this really cool design. She does it mostly on fabric. But I tried it with this and it turned out really neat. It was a little challenging. You wouldn't want to use too big of a piece, but it worked out kind of cool. Okay, and then you're going to turn this back over again and do the other side. Now this takes overnight to dry. You can use a hairdryer on it, but it would probably take a little bit too long. So just kind of figure that it takes overnight to dry. If you leave it between the two pieces of tulle, your front side is going to get the marks of the tulle on it, but then you would just iron it with an iron cloth over the top on silk setting to get that out. And if you really don't want it on there, you could just take it off and dry it like that. Okay. So believe it or not, that is it. What you could do is keep it in the tulle if you wanted to, and you could hang it outside, you know, put clothespins on here and hang it up outside. Or you could put it on a cookie sheet and let the air get underneath it. If you want, well, I was going to say, if you wanted to, you could take it off the one side if you didn't want that tulle mark on it. A little tricky, but it can work. There you go. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll put that on a cookie sheet and let it dry. And the reason for the towel is to absorb into the water. Okay, so there you go. Super easy, and it's going to turn out pretty stiff, just like this piece, and then you'll be able to use it. Alright, well, you can find the Soffsilk on Etsy under Kamaj Fiber Arts, And please follow me on Facebook and watch my other videos. And hey, thanks for watching. Bye.